For more than a year, parts of Merseyside lived under a silent tension. Streets appeared ordinary, houses modest, life predictable. Yet beneath that calm, a network moved unseen, trafficking drugs, hiding weapons, and exploiting trust. At the center of it all was Joshua Adam Hayes, a man who built a criminal enterprise under the guise of normal suburban life. Hidden in plain sight. It was the kind of neighborhood where people left doors unlocked, where kids played in the streets, and neighbors exchanged pleasantries without thinking twice. To anyone observing casually, Hayes and his associates appeared unremarkable. No flashy cars, no loud arguments, no visible signs of criminality, yet the quiet streets masked a meticulously organized operation. Joshua Hayes, in his early 30s, was careful. He cultivated a normal life that allowed him to blend seamlessly, but that facade concealed a criminal network that stretched across Sefton and Merseyside, moving narcotics and firearms in ways that few could have imagined. Alongside him, two co-accused played pivotal roles. Jordan Riley, in his mid-20s, coordinated operations on the ground, communicating with couriers and managing deliveries. Marcus Sinclair, slightly older, oversaw logistics, ensuring that drugs, cash, and firearms were stored securely and moved efficiently without attracting attention. Together, they formed a hierarchy, each member essential to the network's functioning. The web of deals. The operation extended far beyond a single street or property. Investigators identified multiple nodes, a flat in Litherland that concealed weapons, storage locations for drugs, and safe houses used to coordinate movements. On the 15th of July, 2024, a police raid at the Litherland flat uncovered two suspected Scorpion submachine guns, a self-loading pistol, and ammunition. It was the tip of the iceberg. Hayes, Riley, and Sinclair were immediately identified as central figures in the network. The discovery of firearms revealed the risk to the community. This was not just a drug operation, it was an armed enterprise capable of extreme violence. Prosecutors later reported that during the investigation period, the group had supplied around 9 kilograms of cocaine, valued at roughly £900,000. This was not sporadic dealing. It was a well-coordinated, methodical distribution chain that required discipline, trust, and careful planning. The Graft phone and overseas control. One of the more remarkable aspects of Hayes' leadership was his ability to maintain control while abroad. He would holiday in destinations such as Turkey and Tenerife, yet the operation continued seamlessly. Police described a Graft phone that Hayes entrusted to Riley, allowing instructions to flow without interruption. Sinclair ensured the physical logistics remained intact, coordinating storage and movement of drugs and firearms. This arrangement highlighted the sophistication of the network. Hayes did not need to be physically present to run his operation. He relied on a trusted inner circle, redundancy, and discipline, hallmarks of a well-managed criminal enterprise. The hidden wall and the community threat. The Litherland flat, where the firearms were discovered, concealed a more insidious truth. Inside a hidden cavity in the wall, investigators found the Scorpion machine guns, the pistol, and ammunition, all carefully concealed behind fresh plaster. One of the machine guns had been previously discharged in a separate incident, underscoring the potential danger. This discovery revealed the network's capacity for harm. It was not simply about profit from drugs, it was about control, intimidation, and preparedness to use violence. The local community, previously unaware of the network's scale, had been living alongside a high-risk criminal operation without realizing it. The long investigation. The operation to dismantle Hayes' network spanned 15 months. Surveillance teams tracked movements, analyzed communication patterns, and profiled suspects. Police installed covert listening devices, observed meetings, and compiled evidence meticulously. Riley and Sinclair were closely monitored, their communications revealing the operational and logistical backbone of the network. The picture that emerged was one of calculated precision. Hayes as strategist, Riley as operational coordinator, and Sinclair as logistics manager. Every role was carefully defined, and the network's efficiency depended on each member executing their responsibilities flawlessly. The day of the raids. In early October 2025, authorities acted. Simultaneous raids across Merseyside targeted 12 individuals linked to the network. Hayes, Riley, and Sinclair were arrested, along with other co-defendants. The seizures were dramatic. Firearms, ammunition, large sums of cash, and narcotics. The hidden wall cavity, the Scorpion machine guns, and the Graft phone were all recovered, exposing the inner workings of the operation. Neighbours watched in disbelief as a network they had unknowingly lived alongside was dismantled in a matter of hours. Hayes, Riley, and Sinclair appeared composed during arrest, aware that the evidence against them was overwhelming. Courtroom Revelations. The trial that followed painted a clear picture of criminal enterprise. Prosecutors detailed the cocaine supply chain, the storage of firearms, and the communication networks used to coordinate operations. Hayes was identified as the mastermind. Riley's role as operational manager and Sinclair's role in logistics were carefully laid out. Evidence included recordings from surveillance devices, documentation of financial transactions, and physical evidence recovered during raids. The prosecution emphasized the organized, methodical nature of the operation, demonstrating that this was a network capable of enduring and operating efficiently. Sentencing. In October 2025, the sentencing concluded. Joshua Adam Hayes received 20 years in prison. Jordan Riley, for his central role in operational coordination, was sentenced to 15 years, and Marcus Sinclair, responsible for logistics and storage, received 14 years. Other co-defendants received sentences totaling more than 100 years collectively. The sentences reflected the severity of the crimes, the risk posed to the community, and the methodical organization of the network. Authorities hailed the outcome as a significant victory against organized crime in Merseyside. Impact on the community. The arrests left a quiet tension in Merseyside. The immediate threat of firearms and cocaine distribution was removed, but residents were left grappling with the reality that such an operation had existed unnoticed in their midst. For many, it was a moment of shock. How could such a sophisticated network operate under the radar for so long? The answer, authorities explained, lay in the careful cultivation of normalcy by Hayes and his inner circle. By blending into the community, avoiding confrontation, and maintaining strict operational discipline, the group avoided detection until law enforcement could act decisively. Reflections on leadership and control. The Hayes network demonstrated a hierarchy and division of labor rare in criminal organizations. Hayes was the planner and strategist. Riley coordinated operations and managed couriers. Sinclair ensured logistics and storage functioned seamlessly. Each role was critical. A failure in one area could compromise the network. This structure underscores how criminal enterprises evolve to survive in modern societies. Leaders like Hayes recognize the importance of redundancy, operational security, and controlled delegation. This case illustrates that a successful criminal network is less about impulsive crime and more about strategic organization and trust among participants. Lessons for law enforcement. The Hayes case highlights the importance of patience and strategy in combating organized crime. The operation relied on months of surveillance, evidence collection, and targeted raids. Investigators followed patterns, gathered intelligence, and waited for the right moment to act, ensuring the arrests would dismantle the network effectively. Modern criminal networks exploit gaps in society's vigilance, using technology, encrypted communication, and social trust to operate undetected. The Hayes investigation demonstrates that persistent, methodical law enforcement can disrupt even highly disciplined organizations. A fragile calm. With the Hayes network dismantled, Merseyside returned to a cautious normalcy. Yet authorities warned that other groups might attempt to fill the vacuum. The community's sense of security had been shaken, reminding residents that organized crime can hide in familiar settings and ordinary routines. The arrests serve as a reminder. Dismantling a network is only part of the battle. Maintaining vigilance, monitoring emerging threats, and educating the community remain critical to preventing new criminal enterprises from taking root. The human dimension. Joshua Hayes, Jordan Riley, and Marcus Sinclair were more than names in a case file. They were people who exercised influence over their associates, wielded power in quiet, strategic ways, and manipulated trust within their network. Their sentencing serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the consequences of involvement in organized crime. It also underscores how familial, social, and peer relationships can be exploited to sustain operations over time. Communities often underestimate the human intelligence, planning, and cohesion that underpin such networks, assuming crime is chaotic rather than methodical. The Hayes case dispels that notion. Conclusion. The story of Joshua Adam Hayes and his co-accused Jordan Riley and Marcus Sinclair is one of hidden enterprise, careful planning, and strategic criminality. It shows how a network can operate silently, embedded in everyday life, until meticulous investigation reveals its scale and threat. Law enforcement's success in this case demonstrates the importance of evidence, surveillance, and patience. It also serves as a reminder that even in quiet, suburban communities, danger can exist behind walls, in communications, and in the invisible patterns of life. Ultimately, the Hayes case is a testament to the power of organisation, both in criminal enterprise and in law enforcement. It is a story of discipline, deception, and the quiet collapse of a network once thought untouchable. And for Merseyside, it remains a cautionary tale. Vigilance, patience, and persistence are the tools needed to ensure that shadows do not go unnoticed.